Right, so Nicky, you've won 5 champion hurdles. We'll start with your champion hurdle squad. You've got 3 bullets to fire this year. If you could just talk us through the My Tent of yours, Brain Power and Belvedere.
Well, I think my tent, he's probably not the sort of everybody's of the 3. He might not be the obvious one, but he's been second in 2 champion hurdles, and you don't do that without having a lot of ability. He was second to Jet Ski, just beaten ahead, and he ran a great race in it last year. When you think about it, he hadn't run for 2 years, so at least he's coming in off a preparation this time, and I think he's well. But on the other hand, these younger boys might just have the legs of him. But a good true run race will suit Tent. Belvedere, well, as you know, he's young. We'd gone novice chasing with him to start with, but I just felt we had to switch. He'd still had more to do over hurdles, and the Sandown race didn't tell us anything. He beat 2 horses and very, very easily, but he had to beat them very easily. He's miles better than them. Now, does that really mean he's good enough for these? I don't know, and you could say the same about Brain Power, in that he's come straight out of the top drawer in handicaps, but it's his first race into any graded company, let alone Group 1, and but they're 2 very talented horses. We just have to see. I mean, we will not know. There's a bit of guesswork in it, but there's a lot of guesswork in this year's champion hurdle. And there's, it has, first of all, Annie Powers, and then for Heen, obviously they were the 2 obvious ones of Willie's, Willie's had a brutal time of it. So, we feel sorry for him, but I bet you he'll be back here at Cheltenham with a mighty team. He's still the man we'll all have to beat, but unless, I don't know what his plans are for the champion hurdle yet, we'll have to see. But it's nice to have these 3 going in there, because it gives us a good chance anyway. Well, he's a 4-year-old, so the natural thing would be to go Triumph. He's going to run actually in the Adonis at Kempton first, so he's got to come through that. He's probably the only major protagonist that we have to run between now and then. But yeah, he had 1 run in England, so we're judging him on very little information. But on the other hand, I've probably got a bit more than that.
Yeah, and just a word on your supreme runners then. Beyond Conceit, perhaps you're leaning that way?
I would think so, especially if it was soft ground. He goes in it, and I think a good gallop over 2 miles in soft ground would suit him well. But if it just have got good ground, you could up him to 2.5. He just ran a bit free at Ascot the other day, and that was over 2.5. But then at the end of the race, it looked as if he needed the extra half mile to get the job done. So we'll see. I'll probably call it wrong, but we'll try and get it right.
Lofberg Spirit.
Yeah, he's sharp though, isn't he? I mean, he looks very good. I'm just not convinced that Cheltenham's his track. He might be better kept up our sleeve for entry, but we'll just see. He's in very good form.
And Consul d'Ete, would he make first?
He's in the Supreme, he's in the Neptune, he's in the Coral, he's in the County, and he's not in the Gold Cup, the Champion Hurdle. But he'll run in something, and I cannot, honestly, at the moment. And as you can probably see, he's one of J.P. McManus's, and they've got teams of horses that could, as you're saying, Charlie Parks could easily come into the, he's got 3 or 4 top-class 4-year-olds. Now, they're hardly going to take each other on in the Triumph Hurdle, so some of them are going to spread out. But then he's got another whole lot, like Consul d'Ete, and a horse that was second in the hurdle at Newbury the other day. They're all supreme as well, so they've got to split their troops up one way or another.
And River Wild's another going to Kempton on Saturday.
He runs in the Dovecote at Kempton on Saturday. Yeah, and we'd have to see from there. He and Lockdirk Spirit, they're not only owned by the same pair, but Stuart Parker and Mike Gretsch, they've got a number, but they've got the 2. They're very similar horses, so they wouldn't both turn up, that would be certain, but one could easily do so.
And William Henry for the Neptune?
Yes, yeah, I would think almost certainly. There's a couple in there actually. I say Beyond Conceit could do, William Henry certainly would do, and there's 2 or 3 others could easily come into that yet. We'll just see what might run, and you've got the EBF final on the Saturday before at Sandown. There's a couple that might just go down that route and to keep them out of Cheltenham for another year, but we'll just see.